But first, if only Scott Morrison just said sorry. If only he was humble and admitted to making a terrible mistake. God, the pain he would spare the Liberals that he once led. The pain he'd spare the rest of us too. Instead, we had yet another day of Prime Minister Anthony Albanese trashing the man he replaced. And I wonder how long this circus is going to go on for. Every day so far, for a week and a half already. And this time the excuse was the release today of the Solicitor General's report into Morrison secretly making himself the minister of 5 departments that already had ministers there.
The advice, though, is, I think, a very clear criticism and critique of the implications that are there for our democratic system of government of what happened under the former Morrison government.
And if that's not enough, Albanese immediately announced yet another inquiry.
The Cabinet has determined that there will be a need for a further inquiry, and we will give consideration at a future meeting into the nature of that inquiry.
I mean, this is just... Does Anthony Albanese really have nothing better to do than dance on Scott Morrison's head for 9 days in a row and now keep it going for heaven knows how much longer? When's he going to get back to work? Get back to work on our future and not Morrison's past. Now, that said, I am certainly not denying that Scott Morrison did the most amazingly dumb and potentially dangerous thing. As the Solicitor General's report today says, secretly getting the Governor-General to swear him in as the secret minister of 5 departments, well, that was legal, but it was also wrong, because we're supposed to know which politician's actually making the decisions as minister. And the Solicitor General said, well, the end result is that, to the extent the public and the Parliament are not informed of the appointments, the principles of responsible government are fundamentally undermined. Well, fundamentally, it's a bit strong, but yes, it's true. But to me, this is easily fixed. Super simple. You instruct the Governor-General to gazette every such appointment, make them public, no more secrets. And you get the Parliament to pass a law to that effect, binding the Prime Minister and, if possible, the Governor-General too, for however long in the future now. I mean, seriously. And what do you know? Albanese says, well, it's going to do just that.
I've directed the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet to work with the Office of the Official Secretary to the Governor-General to adopt a practice of publishing in the Commonwealth Gazette.
All right then, done, fixed, move on. But, you see, Albanese reckons he can really clean up by hanging this around Morrison's neck and in doing that, smear the Liberals. Easy done. And I bet when Parliament sits again, it's going to probably demand a vote to censure Morrison and make the Liberals either vote against their former leader or defend the indefensible. But so much of that pain for the Liberals, it could be spared. If Morrison just said, sorry, I stuffed up, I made a ghastly mistake, you're absolutely correct. If he confessed everything and saved the Liberals from the humiliation of trying to defend him. If he quit Parliament, even better. But when did Scott Morrison ever seem keen to accept blame, to be humble, to put himself last, the party first? Today, instead, we just got 2 more pages from him of self-justification. And so this will just grind on. But Albanese too, seriously. Now listen, what we got to remember, what Scott Morrison did, it was dumb, yes, even sinister. I said it a week ago. Do we need to keep saying it every single day? But not a single Australian was hurt by what he did. Not a single one. Morrison made just one decision as a secret minister to ban a gas project on the New South Wales coast using his secret power as the secret resources minister. But I will bet my house that Albanese will not now go and reverse that decision. He won't say, how dare Scott Morrison stop a gas project just off New South Wales beaches. It must go ahead. Are you kidding? So, no harm done. But the carry on by Labor day. I mean, again?
Scott Morrison owes the Australian people an apology for undermining our parliamentary democracy system of government.
But do you want to know who's really undermining our parliamentary democracy, our system of government, with even more evidence of that just this week? It's this same Anthony Albanese. You agree with me, I'm sure. Our system is one person, one vote. Pretty important. Anthony Albanese wants to change that. Albanese wants one person, one vote, unless you say you're Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander. Then you get two. The second vote will be for an Aboriginal-only parliament with powers that Albanese refuses to explain. And that racist parliament will supposedly advise our federal parliament, just advise it, but activist judges could very, very quickly make that advice almost a command. And this change is extraordinary. This is the real vandalism to our constitution. This, as I've said before, is actually the start of apartheid in Australia, with treaties and demands for sovereign Aboriginal nations on Australian soil. In fact, you don't even have to wait to see that bandwagon being dragged out of the shed and run down the street. This week on SBS, a senior woman from Mer, which is one of the Torres Strait Islands, said her people already did want sovereignty, or self-government to start with, after a separate treaty to one that we're supposed to be signing with Aboriginal nations.
We're still part of the Australian government, we're still part of the Queensland government, and we have the rules and regulations in place. But at the same time, we're still going down this road for sovereignty.
And she also warned that Mer would consider taking Chinese investments, like the Solomon Islands have, if the Albanese government didn't give them enough money.
We look across at what our Melanesian brothers are doing and sisters, and we're thinking, well, maybe that's an option for us. We don't go out and look for China to come and set up a military base here. All we want to do is feed our family.
Separate policy, foreign policy with the Chinese. And let's not forget the Foreign Minister Penny Wong has promised to actually appoint our first ambassador for Indigenous Australians, so that they do have their own foreign policy. This is the future that Albanese is pushing us towards by dividing us by race. This apartheid. This is so ugly and so dangerous that it stuns me that so many journalists are going on and on and on about the supposed threat from Scott Morrison, when Albanese is doing something infinitely worse right in front of them, and they actually cheer him on. What Morrison did in the past isn't the threat. What is what Albanese will do to our future.